Around 6 in the evening, I, shivering with cold, was pulling on my 8th sundress in a row. The previous 7 were lying on the chair in the fitting booth. Chattering my teeth, I tugged the hem down and stared into the mirror. Mild dissatisfaction turned into irritation. Doesn't fit again! For what reason do our stores sell only models designed for very young girls? Why can't I, a lady of, so to speak, elegant age, find myself a good summer dress? Yes, I've kept my maiden figure, and all those tiny scraps on spaghetti straps sit wonderfully on me. But I do not want to strut around in a skirt the size of a palm and a corset out of which the bust is almost completely falling out. I'm not planning to look for clients on the street. I'm not selling my own body. I need a simple outfit that covers my knees and doesn't cling to my chest. But this is already the 5th store I've gone into, and everywhere my eyes land on the same thing. The thinnest little strings, with a piece of fabric attached, the size of a handkerchief. By the way, I'm a size 38, but most of the models on the sales floor are hopelessly too small for me, considering that women mostly wear size 48, and many girls have a generous bust. One can only wonder where they buy new clothes. Does everyone really go abroad? I took off the sundress and hurriedly started pulling on my own clothes, bought in Paris. Here's another question. Why is the temperature in malls right now practically below 0? Outside, it's July heat. The asphalt is melting under the blazing sun. Sales of ice cream and soda have broken all records. People are undressed almost to indecency. But the moment you step into a store, you end up in the Arctic. I can understand when, in a supermarket, cold air blows from the counters with perishable goods. And when I go for milk and sausage, I always, even in the heat, take along a wool cardigan. But why turn the air conditioner to full power in a place where clothes are hanging? Dresses, skirts, and trousers will not go sour. Annoyed, I looked in the mirror and decided to fix my hair. "Let me go," a woman's voice said quietly. "I'm not going with you." I started and turned around. There was no one in the booth but me. "Leave me alone," someone whispered from the side. "Move it," a muffled male voice said. "You're hurting me. It'll get even worse. Don't touch me, please. I'm scared." "Be quiet." Don't. "Shut up, you bitch." Silence fell. And I, realizing that the not very polite dialogue was coming from the next booth, peeked into the narrow little corridor. At that very second, a couple came out of the neighbouring booth. A girl of about 25 and a guy built like a wardrobe. The young woman was very pretty. Fine, curly red hair fell onto her narrow shoulders. Her face, with milky white skin, was covered in bright freckles, and her eyes were an emerald shade. On top of that, the stranger was elegantly dressed. A white dress with short sleeves and a dark blue belt. And on her feet, expensive sandals made entirely of straps. Naturally, I immediately paid attention to her fashionable pedicure. Bright pink polish emphasized the beautiful shape of her toenails. Not every woman can boast of a perfect foot shape. But this was exactly that rare case where the big toe is the longest and the others gradually get shorter. "Can I help you?" I asked. "What do you want?" The guy rumbled in a bass and lifted a dull gaze at me. The beauty stood silently, her eyes lowered to the floor. It seemed to me that she was calling for help, I declared firmly. "No," the stranger whispered, barely audibly. "You misunderstood. Everything's fine." "Really?" I wouldn't calm down. "We don't have time to chat," the wardrobe said with a threat in his voice. "We're in a hurry. The kids are waiting at home. Don't you have anything better to do? Pestering people." And then the girl finally tore her gaze from the carpet, covering the little corridor, and looked at me. I shuddered. In the stranger's look, there was not even fear anymore, but genuine terror. "Are you sure everything's all right?" I repeated. She quickly nodded. "If anybody's calling security right now, it's me," the closet hissed. "Fancy boutique, and they let in lunatics." "You'd better go," the girl whispered. "Thank you, I'm fine. What's your name?" I still wouldn't stop. The girl looked helplessly at the man. "Unbelievable," he snapped. "Lady, lay off my wife. What a beautiful purse you have." I clung to my last hope of starting a conversation. Unexpectedly, the girl brightened. "Yes, it's expensive. They only sell pieces like this at Alonso. But they wouldn't sell you one like it. I'm a regular client at the boutique. This clutch was custom made specifically for me, and it exists in a single copy. Still, drop by Alonso. They'll offer you lots of interesting things." "I don't get it. Are we going to stand here till New Year's?" her companion exploded. "Honey, move it. We're expected." With these words, the guy grabbed the girl by the shoulder and shoved her forward. I watched them go. At the end of the little corridor, the redhead turned around, and her green eyes, in which now to terror was added despair, began to fill with tears. "Security!" I yelled, rushing forward. "Over here, quickly! Help!" That very second, the guy and the girl walked out of the corridor and blended into the crowd. I ran into the sales floor and got confused. People were swarming everywhere. Today the sales season had just started, and a huge number of both women and men had decided to update their wardrobe. The red-haired girl was nowhere in sight. "Didn't it fit?" asked the sales girl, materializing next to me. I realized I was still holding the sundress in my hand and quickly answered, "No." "Pity," the girl said, genuinely upset. "That piece has a 70% discount. Has a beautiful woman with bright red hair passed by here?" I interrupted her. "She was trying on clothes in the booth next to mine." "Where?" "In the little corridor," I explained. "You one of us?" the salesgirl suddenly asked. "I beg your pardon?" I didn't understand. "A relative of someone on staff?" "No, just a regular customer." "And why did you get the idea I'm related to someone on the mall staff?" "That's actually our break room," the girl smiled. "During sales, they screen it off with a tall partition, drag in mirrors, and it turns into 2 extra fitting rooms. You're lucky you got in there. Only our own know about those spaces. The main mass of customers is over there, jostling." The girl pointed towards the line snaking at the opposite end of the floor. I glanced at the badge pinned to the neat uniform dress of the friendly salesgirl and asked, "Tell me, Stella, did you see a red-haired girl here?" "No," the salesgirl shook her head. "It's packed with people." And who took you to the fitting room for staff? I found it by accident, I smiled. At first I got discouraged when I realised I'd have to stand in line forever. Then I decided not to waste time. Wanted to hang the selected things back, went to the racks and saw a girl flit out of that little corridor with hangers. Stella laughed. Lucky you for being neat. Clients, as a rule, if they change their mind about trying on clothes, just chuck them wherever they're standing. And you actually carried them back to their places and discovered our secret booths. Miss, someone yelled from the side. Hey, you, enough chatting. Where's size 42? Stella darted off in that direction, and I went outside, got into the car, and started thinking. The red-haired stranger was clearly afraid of her companion, and she didn't answer my question about her name. Why? It would have been no trouble at all to say, "My name is Dasher," but the guy basically forbade his companion to introduce herself, and she obeyed. Am I mistaken? Or was there real horror in the beauty's eyes? At first she kept silent, then timidly backed up the guy, and only came to life when she started talking about the bag from the Alonso boutique. If a lady is so eager to talk about an accessory, even bragging that it exists as a single unique piece, then she's probably not in mortal danger. Although, Dasher, you idiot! But that girl turned out to be truly smart. She was hoping I'd understand her correctly and try to help. My hands grabbed the steering wheel. I know very well where Alonso is. I bought shoes there a couple of times, and once got Zyka a bag as a present. Unlike the shopping mall, Alonso had a pleasant coolness, and there wasn't a single customer in the cosy room. The boutique windows weren't decorated with a sign saying, "We have a discount," and the crowds weren't storming the store. You can understand people, even at a moment when all over Moscow prices are collapsing at breakneck speed. The assortment at Alonso remains outrageously expensive. "Hello, Daria," chirped a tall, skinny guy, dressed like a ghost, all in white. I could only envy the young man's sharp memory. I'm not one of their regular clients. I don't drop in that often, but the consultant remembered my name. "We have a new collection," the boy began to court me. "Take a look at the green shoes. Very cute," I nodded. "And the bags," the ghost rolled his eyes. "It's a pity I can't wear bags like that." "Speaking of bags," I brightened. "You see, sorry, what is your name?" "Anton," the young man bowed gallantly. "So then, Anton, my acquaintance bought a clutch from you, dark blue with white specks and a gold clasp, on a long, thin strap." Anton squinted and said nothing. "She's a redhead, very pretty girl, your regular client," I continued. "The bag was one of a kind. It was made at the buyer's request. Obviously, you register those kinds of orders." The salesman hesitated, then put a hand to his chest and rolled his eyes. "Daria, please understand me correctly. If a client acquires an item based on her own sketch, we have no right to reproduce it. That's impossible. But if you wish, you can come up with your own version. I'll be happy to help you." "I don't need a bag," I blurted out. "I need the girl." Anton blinked. "Sorry, I don't understand." "Please tell me the first and last name of the client who ordered the clutch. And I'd also like to have her address and phone number," I sang sweetly. "I'm sorry," the consultant faltered. "Information like that cannot be disclosed." I took out my wallet, pulled a banknote from it, placed it on the counter and said, "I would be very grateful." Put the money away. Anton got nervous. I could lose my job for breaking the rules. And besides, you just said that the girl is your acquaintance. I expressed myself badly. I only saw the beauty from a distance. Do me a favour. Help me. Anton shook his head. No, and don't ask. I leaned on the counter. Our family is quite well off, I know, the consultant nodded. Naturally, I don't want gold diggers, hunters for rich grooms, sneaking into it. Understandable, Anton agreed. I perked up and started lying with triple power. My older son found a wonderful wife. She, by the way, is your client. But the younger boy, Igoriok, kept getting involved with frivolous young ladies. Naturally, I didn't approve, and I probably went too far. Igor stopped bringing the girls home. Not long ago, my friend told me that Igor is constantly seen at different parties with a flashy, red-haired girl. Clearly well off, but money isn't the main thing. I managed to find out that the beauty is one of your regular customers, and that's why I came to Alonso. Understand a mother's heart. I'm all torn up. I don't sleep at night. I'm tormented, wondering who this time has hooked my naive but very wealthy boy. I beg you, help me. Anton sighed loudly, pulled out a drawer from under the counter, took from it a thick notebook, opened it and said, You're just like my mum. She tries to find everything out about me by roundabout ways. We simply love you very much and want to protect you from mistakes, I declared with a sob. Volodina Dana Pavlovna, Anton said, lives in Kuntsevo. There's a phone number, only I don't know whose it is. Many clients don't want to leave their own numbers. They give the contact for an assistant or for security. You don't have to worry. Why, darling? I asked, carefully writing down the information. Dana is very rich, Anton sighed. And now, she's well-mannered, never says a rude word, very refined. You know Volodina? I asked happily. I've waited on her a few times, Anton shrugged. But mostly I get my information from the tabloids. Oh my God, she's a show business star. I rolled my eyes. No, Anton smirked. Dana doesn't work anywhere. Her father would give her money without question. And now the whole capital is hers. Did you hear about the car crash? Well, in the spring, the Maybach crashed. Pavel Yurievich Volodin died, a businessman from the Forbes list. I vaguely remember something like extreme weather conditions, I drawled. Uh-huh, Anton nodded. At the very beginning of March, there was a thunderstorm. The weather went crazy. The papers wrote that lightning hit the Maybach. Nobody survived. All dead. Volodin, his wife, the driver. Dana is now fabulously rich, but I wouldn't want to trade my mother and father for millions. No kidding, I sighed. Wait, Anton suddenly got nervous. But she's married. Who? I played dumb. Dana. She came here with her husband once. He sat in the armchair reading a little magazine while his wife tried on shoes. Your son couldn't possibly have proposed to her. I knew this story would have a bad ending, I exclaimed tragically. How many times have I told Igor? Never get involved with ringed females. They're nothing but trouble. Thank you. I'll go home. Trying to portray truthfully a mother upset about her wayward son, I slowly headed for the exit. Dari, Anton called after me. I stopped and turned around. What? Don't worry, the consultant tried to comfort me. Dana is probably already divorced. Why do you think so? I asked in surprise. I don't know. It seemed to me she and her husband don't have the best relationship. Usually women try something on and start pestering their companion, asking endless questions. Does it fit well? How's the colour? Wouldn't the red pair be better? Or the green? Or the blue? Some are so persistent, I actually feel sorry for their husbands. But those two came in. He sat down right away with a magazine. She quickly tried on the shoes and bought them on the spot. She didn't need anybody's advice. She was strange that day in general. Didn't even say hello to me. Forgot her discount card at home. But of course I gave her the markdown anyway. I shrugged. Usually the strong half pays for the weak half. So girls try to make sure the man likes the things they buy. But Dana is rich. She doesn't have to bend. Although you're right, of course. If a wife doesn't care about her husband's opinion, you can't really call that a happy marriage. I walked out of Alonso and immediately realized I wanted a bite to eat. A few meters from the boutique, there was a sign, Restaurant Puzo. I went up to the tavern door and saw a notice, Meat cook wanted. My appetite vanished instantly. Of course, I understand that Puzo does not serve cutlets made of human flesh, and that they need a cook in the kitchen to prepare steaks and sautéed beef. No one is going to grind him into mince. But I no longer felt like having lunch there. Deciding it would be better to drink some water and eat a chocolate bar, I went up to a kiosk, bought a bottle of mineral water and a bar, quickly polished off both, and started looking around for a fruit crate, like the tidy vendors usually put next to their stalls. No improvised trash bin in sight, so I scratched my finger against the booth window. A young guy's face appeared. What? Where do I put the empty bottle? I don't take 'em, the boy mumbled with his mouth full. Where's a trash can? I rephrased. Who the hell knows? Maybe there's one by the metro, the kiosk guy replied indifferently. You could at least put out an empty box, I scolded the slob. I took it away, the seller answered. People were throwing garbage in there. I blinked and, puzzled by the boy's logic, asked, You prefer having wrappers and cigarette butts thrown all around? Mahmood sweeps the sidewalk, but I'm the one who has to take the box out. Feel the difference, the vendor snickered. If I worked in some posh place, serving millionaires, then sure. But I'm not about to haul trash for peanuts. Next, you'll be asking me to hold merchandise for you. Leave your phone number so I can call when it's brought from Paris. The guy slammed the little window shut. Thank you, I exclaimed. For what? The guy was surprised. For the idea, I said. Went to the car and grabbed my mobile. Someone answered right away. I'm listening, sang out a melodic voice with a light rasp. I'm calling from the Alonso boutique. May I speak to Dana? I'm on the line. Dana Volodina? Yes. Sorry, I didn't recognize your voice. No problem. I'm listening. I'm Senior Manager Elena. And? We're conducting a survey of regular customers. Would you be so kind as to answer a couple of questions? Just make it quick. Of course. Thank you so much. Enough, start! Dana cut me off sharply. Do you like the Alonso assortment? Yes. What do you feel is missing? Everything's sufficient. Does your husband visit our store? No. Why? He prefers other stores. Where should we send our catalogues? To the old address? In Kuntsevo? Yes. Tell me, that's enough, Volodina declared firmly. That's not a couple of questions anymore. That's a full interrogation. I didn't give you my number so we could have idiotic conversations. When a new collection comes in, let me know." The line squealed nastily, and I tossed the phone onto the seat. Dana is at home, and judging by her confident voice, everything's fine with her. Probably Colonel Degtyarev is right. I'm too wrapped up in detective novels, and I imagine crime on every corner. Why did I decide the red-haired beauty needed help? Was the girl looking at me with a pleading gaze? Maybe she always looks like that. Take our pug Hooch, for example. If you don't know that in the morning he had a solid snack of chicken, then treated himself to cookies Arkady gave him, and then stole a modest share of fruit from Masha's bedroom, you'd cry out of pity for the miserable little dog, staring at you with huge, sad brown eyes. With strangers seeing Hooch for the first time, the food gets stuck in their throats, and they start feeding the pug, saying, "Little guy, you're starving. Look how hungry you are." Just imagine the astonishment of kind guests when Hoochie turns his nose away from cheese, and Manya cheerfully explains, "Don't give him cheddar. Hooch only eats truffle." So much for the poor underfed dog. Most likely, Dana just has that image, a girl with tears in her eyes. And why did I decide that the story about the bag from Alonso was the woman's attempt to tell me her name? She just wanted to show off her exclusive clutch. That's it. Let's forget that silly incident. Better I'll get a pedicure. Though, with my master, you have to book in advance. I called the salon and found out that the manicurist, Tanechka, could take me right now. I drove toward Kutuzovsky Prospect, quietly rejoicing at the incredible luck. Getting a pedicure in the middle of summer without a prior appointment is practically a miracle. So that the client wouldn't get bored during the procedure, Tanya gave me a couple of glossy magazines, and I lazily started flipping through the pages. The same faces kept appearing in the photos. It was amazing some people never get tired of racing from party to party non-stop. I yawned. "Boring reading?" Tanechka immediately asked, expertly working the file. "Exactly," I agreed. "Take another weekly," she advised, and slipped me a thin booklet. "It's brand new, just came out." I opened the cover and saw a photo of Dana. The beauty had been shot full length. Her slender body was wrapped in a pale blue dress. Her red hair was pinned up in a high hairstyle. Huge diamond earrings dangled from her earlobes. And in her hands, Volodina was holding that very same clutch from Alonso. Obviously, at this stage of her life, it was her favourite bag. Dana's tiny feet were adorned with sandals, lavishly encrusted with rhinestones. And again I saw her neat, elegant little toes. "Beautiful woman," slipped out of me unintentionally. "Who?" Tanya immediately showed curiosity. I turned the magazine toward her. "Dana," Tanya said shortly. "You know her?" I was surprised. "Pretty well," Tanya nodded. "She used to be my regular client. I just did not expect this." "Expect what?" I tensed. Tanya poured hot water into the little footbath. "Dana's been coming to our salon for years. Even her mother used to come here. Now she was truly the sweetest woman, always smiling, leaving generous tips, never spreading her fingers like a queen, although with her kind of money, she could have lined us all up and drilled us. And Dana seemed well-bred too. She changed a lot after she got married, became gloomy. What happened then?" Tanya suddenly fell silent in fright. Go on," I nodded encouragingly. The technician shut the door to the room more tightly, picked up the clippers, and began to gossip with total abandon. The salon I go to is popular with famous people. Not everyone wants to dye their hair and get a trim in front of the general public. So on the -1st floor, there's a VIP room. One day the receptionist told the manicurist, "Go quickly, the Volodins are here, mother and daughter." Tanechka hurried toward the stairs, went down, and decided to duck into the restroom for a second. She hadn't even managed to slip into the stall when she heard footsteps from the anteroom, then water splashing, and the angry voice of Olga Mikhailovna, the elder Volodina. "Wash your face immediately and stop disgracing me in front of other people. I said stop crying." "The tears are coming on their own," Dana moaned. "Mum, if you and Dad don't let Sergei and me get married—" "Be quiet," Olga Mikhailovna snapped. "That will never happen. Ever." "Mum, I'll kill myself. Sergei is a gigolo, a kept man." "He loves me," Dana burst into tears. "Of course he does," her mother snorted. "With the kind of millions you've got." "You can't measure everything in money," the daughter cried in despair. "In our case, that's exactly how you measure it," Olga Mikhailovna answered coldly. "Sergei is a good-for-nothing. He's up to his ears in debt. He drives an expensive foreign car, dresses in luxury, but he has no money. We don't need that kind of son-in-law. Stop snivelling. Your father will find you an excellent husband. What, for example, is so bad about Nikita Romantsev?" "I'd rather die," Dana sobbed. "He's ugly, bald, fat, hideous. We don't need a con man for a son-in-law, and—" The end of the phrase was drowned out by the sound of shattering glass. "My God!" screamed Olga Mikhailovna. There was naked terror in Volodina's voice, and Tanechka, forgetting about caution, ran out of the stall. She saw a shocking scene. Shards of mirror all over the floor. Dana standing by the sink, white as death, blood pouring from her left wrist. Tanya dashed into the VIP room, brought iodine, bandages, hydrogen peroxide, and rinsed the girl's thin cut. Since this was happening in the basement, neither the salon's clients nor the other staff heard the noise. "Tanechka," Olga Mikhailovna said gently, when the manicurist finished treating the wound. "Here are 3,000 euros. Take them." "For what?" Tanya was frightened. "For a little favour," Olga Mikhailovna smiled ingratiatingly. "You'll say you yourself broke the mirror. Well, you slipped, started to fall, and accidentally hit the glass with your ring. Our family is constantly under press attention. The tabloids will blow a sensation out of nothing in a second. They'll hear about a mirror incident and publish, "Mother and daughter Volodina fought in the bathroom." They'll see the bandaged wrist and come out with, "Dana tried to kill herself." Help us out, dear." "And you agreed?" I asked. "For 3,000 euros, Tanya smirked. "Happily. I went to Italy, bought a pile of clothes, and 3 months later, Dana got married. Her fiancé's name was Sergei, and I realised the daughter broke her parents. Her mother must have gotten really scared when Dana smashed the mirror and tried to slit her veins. So she talked to her husband, and they decided, let their only child have her toy. It cost them nothing to support one extra person. Only the parents turned out to be right." "Dana had a bad husband?" Tanya shrugged. "There are clients who'll tell you everything about themselves. Dana wasn't one of them. But she used to be cheerful. Then she became sad. She was constantly calling her husband. He would tell her something, and her eyes would fill with tears. Then her mother and father died, and Dana stopped smiling at all. The last time we saw each other, she suddenly asked, "Tell me, Tanya, do you know any priest? I want to confess." "I'm not religious," the manicurist answered. "I don't seem to be either," Dana said slowly. "Only Mum and Dad come to me in dreams every night, hold out their hands to me. I can feel it. I understand, but—" The client fell silent, and Tanya looked at her questioningly. "We'll take fuchsia polish." Dana steered the talk back to daily trivia. "And today was just—" Tanya shook her head. "She was booked for exactly this time. That's why I had a free slot. Dana is extremely punctual. She never comes late, always arrives early, and if she has to postpone, she calls. She had blocked out a full 4 hours for herself. Fix the gel on the nails, pedicure, hand and foot massage, baths, the full program. She decided to relax properly. And she didn't come. I waited half an hour. Then I call her and say, "Dana, this is the salon. Are you coming for your treatments?" And then Tanya fell silent. "What?" I exclaimed. I hear in response, "Stop calling here. I don't need your services anymore. And anyway, tomorrow my husband and I are flying to our villa in Spain. I doubt that after we get back I'll want to set foot in your salon, where all the masters, both guys and girls, have hands growing out of the wrong place." Then the phone slam. She was rude to me for no reason. What got into her? Maybe she got sick. Her voice was a little hoarse, like with a cold. "Most likely the client didn't appreciate getting a call at home," I said. "She never minded before," Tanya shrugged. "And Dana never tore into people. She was always pointedly polite." The technician reached for a bottle of polish while I was digesting the information. "The more I think about what she said, the more surprised I am," Tanya suddenly burst out. "Maybe I called the wrong number, dialed by mistake." "But you said her name, Dana." "People like to joke," Tanya sighed. "No, it wasn't her." How did I not guess right away? "Dasha, let me call her, please. It's making me nervous." "Go ahead," I agreed. "But why are you so sure you weren't talking to Volodina?" "Just because of the hoarse tone." "Anyone can catch a cold," Tanya waved that off. "What's strange is that she said, 'I'll never come again to your salon where all the masters, both guys and girls, are clumsy.'" So what? I was surprised. Dana knows perfectly well that there are no men working in our salon, Tatiana explained. That's a strange phrase for her. "Hello, Dana?" "Sorry, this is the salon. We can reserve any time for you and—" Uh-huh. Tanechka went quiet. Her pretty little face stretched out. Her lower lip started to tremble resentfully. What did she say? I couldn't hold back. Tanya put down the phone. "I mean, really? She swore at me. I never thought she even knew those kinds of words. She was yelling like a market fishwife. What is happening to people? Maybe she really has the flu, and tomorrow she's flying to Spain, so she stuffed herself with antibiotics just to get on the plane. They say some pills can turn a person into an idiot. What enamel are we putting on your nails?" Barely restraining the urge to jump up and run, I answered briskly. "Let's skip polish. I'm in a hurry for a meeting. Drivers have a few reliable omens. If you've washed the car, it will definitely rain. And if you're in a hurry, you'll definitely get stuck in a multi-kilometre traffic jam. Stuck in the crowd of cars, I started calling the colonel. Degtyaryov, my friend answered wearily. Find out, please, which flight to Spain Dana Pavlovna Volodina is taking tomorrow. I rattled off. Her husband Sergei should be with her. I don't know his last name. Considering the couple's financial situation, they most likely won't fly Aeroflot. Maybe they chartered a private jet. I'm exhausted like a dog, Alexander Mikhailovich suddenly replied. Although, no. Knowing how great Hooch and his packmates feel, comparing my miserable existence to the lives of pampered house dogs is not right. I'm wiped out like I don't even know what. This heat has killed me. There's no air conditioner in my office. And now you, with yet another stupid request. I quickly hung up. When the colonel is in a mood, it's better not to poke him. Maybe it's even for the best that Degtyaryov started grumbling. Airports have their own rules, and one of my friends, Kostya Ryabin, just happens to work at Domodedovo. I'll get more use out of him than out of Alexander Mikhailovich. I need to talk to Kostya right now, and then immediately drive to the mall where I first saw Dana and talk to the sales girl, Stella. One thought suddenly popped into my head, and I had to check it. The next day, around noon, wearing the same outfit as yesterday, I was sitting in the VIP lounge at Domodedovo. Kostya Ryabin was lazily drinking coffee at the bar, and suddenly he brought his phone to his ear, nodded, and looked at me. I stood up, went down a couple of steps and found myself in front of the counter, where privileged persons were checking bags and having their passports processed. The first thing that caught my eye was bright red, tightly curled hair. I walked quickly up to the girl and exclaimed, "Dana, what an unexpected meeting!" The young woman turned around, her too pale skin sprinkled with freckles, her eyes almost emerald, her full lips shiny with pale pink lipstick. "Good afternoon," Volodina answered cautiously. "Is everything all right?" I asked. "Absolutely," Dana nodded. "Flying out?" I wouldn't let up. "Yes, to Spain," Volodina nodded. "And you?" I dropped my eyes, saw the feet in sandals, and said cheerfully, "Looks like you didn't recognize me." "Not at all," Dana smiled. "Naturally, I remember you perfectly, but I have a terrible flaw. I forget people's names forever." "Are you Masha?" "Dasha," I rhymed. "Right," Volodina brightened. "I was almost right." "True," I agreed, "except you never knew my name, so there was nothing to remember." Dana's incredibly green eyes flew wide. "We first ran into each other yesterday in the little corridor by the fitting rooms in a shopping centre," I went on. "You let me understand that you needed urgent help, and I did everything I could to pull you out of trouble." "Unbelievable," the woman flared. "There's no escape from lunatics. They'll even crawl into the VIP lounge. Sergei, Sergei!" "What?" answered a slender, dark-haired man who was setting a suitcase on the rubber belt in front of the screening machine. "Get over here," demanded Dana. "What for?" he asked indifferently. I grabbed Dana by the blouse. "We need to talk." "Get off me!" the girl screamed. "Hey, police!" Ryabin appeared immediately. "Is there a problem?" "Get this psycho away from me," Dana demanded. Kostya touched my shoulder. Let's go." I clung even harder to Volodina. "Get this idiot off me!" Dana screeched. "Guys," Kostya called. Out of nowhere, a couple of sturdy men appeared. "Sergei! Sergei!" Dana screamed, as the group of policemen started herding us into a service room. The dark-haired man looked at his wife with obvious annoyance, then stepped over the white line and happily announced, "I've crossed the border of Russia. My passport's been processed. I'll be waiting for you on the plane." A week after these events, I invited Ryabin and his wife Katya to a restaurant. When we got to dessert, Kostya asked, "How did you figure out that Sergei was going to take another woman to Spain in place of his wife?" I set my coffee cup on the saucer. It's hard to give one single answer. There were several questions I couldn't answer right away. Such as? Kostya wouldn't let it drop. At first, I was bothered by the rough conversation in the fitting booth. The guy who was demanding Dana go with him made a mistake. He didn't know that the fitting rooms are separated only by a screen. The folding construction goes up to the ceiling and looks like a wall. The man was clearly threatening the girl. She was afraid of him. Katya looked at Kostya. "Dashutka, sometimes Ryabin and I practically come to blows. I want to buy a new dress and he's against it, word after word, and we say awful things." Kostya grunted. "Happens. But I doubt you have horror in your eyes after a marital spat," I countered. I saw real fear in Dana's eyes. Kostya grunted again. Weak argument. "Now, we know that the thug hired by Sergei was threatening Dana with a gun," I continued. "That's why she tried to act calm and didn't tell me her name. But Volodina didn't lose her wits. She understood that a stranger who suddenly offered help was her only chance, and she tried to tell me her name. She did it in a very original way. She told me about the Alonso boutique. Dana could only hope I'd turn out to be quick on the uptake. The salesman, Anton, gave me the client's details and casually mentioned her good manners. And he also mentioned that Sergei had only been to Alonso once, and that day Dana bought the shoes very quickly, without consulting her husband. Dana's politeness was also mentioned by the manicurist Tanya, and she also noticed that Volodina changed a lot after the tragic death of her parents. She lost her cheerfulness, became gloomy. By the way, both the businessman and his wife were against their daughter marrying the gigolo, and Dana wanted to go to a priest to confess. Do you understand? No, Katya answered quickly. So what? Kostya bulged his eyes. I looked at the couple. The always polite Dana cursed Tanya out when Tanya offered to reschedule for another day. And on the phone with me, she wasn't exactly sweet either. Why would a polite young woman suddenly turn into a foul-mouthed shrew? Life wore her down, Katya shrugged. And Dana also told Tanya, I won't come back to your salon where all the masters, both guys and girls, have clumsy hands. But Volodina is a long-time client of the salon. She knows perfectly well there are no men working there, I exclaimed. And that's when the idea hit me. What if the elder Volodins didn't die by accident? Most likely the businessman learned something truly shocking about his son-in-law. Or he wasn't giving Sergei as much money as Sergei demanded. Who is the heir to Volodin's empire? Dana, Kostya drawled. I nodded. And she adores her husband. Now, Degtyaryov is carefully studying the circumstances of that crash. I think the colonel will dig something up that proves Sergei's guilt. At first, Dana took her parents' death as a tragic accident, but later she started having suspicions too, and they grew stronger every day. The girl became gloomier and gloomier, started talking about confessing to a priest. She wanted someone to talk to. Sergei noticed the changes in his wife and decided Dana had to be gotten rid of. He came up with a plan. He just needed to find a girl who vaguely resembled his wife, disguise her, and take her out of the country in Dana's place to Spain. And then the wife would drown in the sea, and Sergei would come home a heartbroken widower. Why get rid of the wife abroad? Kostya asked in honest surprise. I nodded. Good question. The investigation would be handled by the local police, and they don't strain themselves too much when it's about a tourist, and a Russian one at that. She had a few drinks and drowned. In Moscow, the case would be studied thoroughly. The papers would scream, but in Spain there'd be no fuss. When that version came together in my head, I remembered that the salesgirl Stella had been surprised that I ended up in the secret fitting booth intended for insiders. I rushed to the mall and asked the girl, "Did you by any chance have a pretty red-haired girl working here? Maybe she quit recently." "Yes," Stella answered. "That's Nina Kondratyeva. She supposedly left on Tuesday. But this morning I saw her in uniform, so they probably made her work out her 2 weeks." I fell silent, then finished quietly. And when I saw in Domodyedovo Dana's foot in the sandal with her crooked toes, the puzzle was solved. Nina did a good job with makeup, got a perm, put in green contact lenses, painted on freckles, and from a distance she could absolutely pass for Volodina. But those toes, neither she nor Sergei thought about the toes. Now we know how it all happened. Sergei and the real Dana told us everything. The husband suggested Dana go shopping. They parked by the mall, and then Sergei suddenly got a headache, made a show of swallowing a pill and said, "Go on without me for now. I'll join you in about 10 minutes. Dana went into the store. "Wait," Katya exclaimed. She wasn't suspicious that her husband wanted to go browsing through boutiques. The salesman at Alonso said the couple didn't really even talk. I smiled condescendingly. Sergei had already brought Nina, disguised, into the boutique. He wanted to check whether the wife would set off any alarm bells. The rehearsal went smoothly. Anton didn't spot the swap. "Keep going," Kostya ordered. "There's almost nothing left to say." I spread my hands. Dana went inside. A salesgirl approached her. It was Nina. Helped pick out clothes and led her into the insider booth. A minute later, a thug squeezed in there, hired by Sergei, and took Volodina to a secluded place. The husband decided not to kill Dana. Ryabin was astonished. He needed her to sign a packet of financial documents, I explained. As soon as the poor thing signed the papers, her fate would be sealed. But unfortunately for them, I happened to be in the next booth. Good thing I realized the store was chosen for the kidnapping on purpose, and that one of Sergei's accomplices worked there, most likely a woman, his lover. She knew about the special booth, and the exit into the courtyard located a meter from that corridor. That's why Dana and the thug disappeared instantly. They didn't go through the crowd. The wardrobe used a door unknown to customers. "You saved Volodina's life," Katya exclaimed. "You rushed to help a complete stranger." I looked at Kostya's wife and said quietly, "There are huge numbers of our friends walking down the street. It's just that we haven't met them yet."